Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching or wherever you're watching. Let's get into 90 Day Fiance UK. And forgive how I look. I got up early to do, I'm adjusting to doing early streams. And I didn't want to be late, so I'm still not dressed. But I am washed up, so I didn't get on camera dirty. Let's check out who is in the chat here. Chris is here. She says, hey, Shasha. Hey, chat. Fominky Latte is here. She says, hey, y'all. Let me do my little setup here. Oh, did not mean to do that. I don't have as many visuals as I usually have. But I'll put this one up here. Like this, so people know that we are talking about 90 Day Fiance UK season 1 episode 9, which, as you can see from the default picture, like as soon as this moment happened, I said I need to take. I actually took a picture. These are pictures that I took with my cell phone to the television, like literally on my notes. Yeah, I gotta do it like this. Yeah, on my notes you can see where I took the picture because I was like, that is so inappropriate. But we will come back to that, because I want to start off talking about Victoria and Shintori. And I'm calling him Shintori to differentiate him. Well, that's number one, that's his real name. And number two, to differentiate him from the other Sean, because we have 2 Seans on this show. So we'll get into Victoria and Shintori. Because very quickly, like, their story is kind of a nothing burger when you think about it. Like, it's just the same thing every week. She asks him questions. He gives her half-assed answers. She feels duped, and it's like the same thing, repeat, rinse, repeat over and over again. I don't care. Either go with him or don't go with him. If you don't believe what he's saying, just say I don't believe you and move on. I can't. I wish I could feel engaged in their story, but I'm just not. So anyways, they talk about where they're going to live. And of course, she wants to stay in England. I mean, remember last week, we've discovered this is a person who has never even traveled from England to France. And it's like fairly close. I wonder if she's even gone to, like, you know, Ireland or Scotland or Wales outside of like where she's at. Because I mean, just bear with me. I'm talking from a U.S. perspective, and the country of the United States is so huge that it almost seems like a positive that Europe is so small, because there's so, well, not Europe is not small, but the individual countries are so small that you could travel around. Like you could go for a Saturday afternoon in another country. Like that's pretty cool to me. So to see someone not take advantage of that, it's kind of odd. I'm like, why wouldn't you? um, She's also still mad about the train station incident because he did not say that he was with her, and he lied to the authorities, which could jeopardize his chances of being able to return to the country if it's found out that he lied, which he's on television. Like, so you kind of are exposed for lying since the whole thing has been recorded. Like, okay. So anyways, she's still salty about that. And she was already salty about, him not telling. Well, she's saying that she doesn't understand his work situation, even though he did give her an explanation. It's just that his explanation doesn't make sense, because she asked him how he makes his money and he says YouTube. But when you take a look at his YouTube channel, he hasn't posted in about 2 years, and he doesn't have, he has like a medium-sized following, I would say. Not small, but not huge, but not necessarily enough to live off of. I'm not sure. But the channel is interesting. He does like woodworking crafts, which I could see that being something that's not time sensitive. That's something that people could watch year after year. So it's possible that he could still be getting some checks off of YouTube, but he still comes across as though he's hiding something. He does ask her to move to Japan with him, which was interesting. And then she's like, I don't want to move. And he's like, well, will you at least come and visit Japan? I'd like to show you Japan. And she does agree to visit Japan, which I think would be nice. I hope they record her visiting Japan. That's when he actually asked her. No, he made her some miso soup and asked her to marry him. And any other time, that would be a very sweet gesture. But since she was still mad at him about other things, I think the timing was off. Like, he should have held off on that one. He should have just held off on that one and waited until they kind of worked out their issues. I feel like that was premature. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for them. I'm so glad I got through that quickly. So we can get right on to this right here. And this gentleman, Hossein, who I don't think he will ever be able to love Emma, because he loves himself too much to love someone else. Did you notice how many times this man stopped to check himself in the mirror, in a glass window, possibly a spoon in a restaurant, any reflective surface? This man is going to stop and check himself out. It was very distracting. Fumikilati says, hey, got sugar mamas around the world. Ah, that's possible. He could have different sugar mamas. I didn't even think about that. Or different women that he talks to. Someone on Twitter called him a Tinder swindler. Hey, Emma. Emma says, where do you start with these two? I don't even know. And I'm still, like I said before, I'm still very shocked that Emma's only 44 years old. I feel like her styling has aged her immensely. Like, I would automatically think that she was approaching 60. It's just really, really interesting. But I also feel bad for her, because she does seem like a genuinely sweet person. Like, I haven't seen her do anything that was, disrespectful or evil or mean. She just seems like someone who wants companionship in a relationship. She just seems like a little bit lonely, and she really just wants companionship. So I do feel for her, and I feel bad that Hossein gives me user vibes. Like, like I said, the whole staring at himself so much in the mirror, that's so unattractive. So they show Emma packing to leave for Turkey, and I thought she was going by herself, but she ended up taking her daughter, and I'm not sure if that's her daughter's boyfriend or her son, because he doesn't speak, and she never, or at least I don't recall her introducing him. But there's another young man there. He looks like he could be anywhere from 17 to 22 years old. It's hard for me to tell how old kids are now, or young people are. 17-year-olds can look like 24, and 24-year-olds can look like 17. So I don't know what age that young man was that I was looking at, but he seemed fairly young. And when Hossein arrives, that's why a picture's worth 1,000 words. Why not just show you? This is how he greets Emma. and how Emma greets him as well. And he pats her on the back. He's not holding her, he's just patting her on the back. This is how her daughter greeted him, and I thought that was super inappropriate. Because number one, that's supposed to be, the person that's to become your stepfather. Secondly, like, I was gonna say who raised you, but we know Emma raised her. Emma, why did you raise your daughter to behave this way? I feel like this is just so I don't want to say disrespectful. Even though it kind of is, but I just feel inappropriate is a better term to use. This is very inappropriate to me, especially when you have not met this person in person. This is their first time meeting in person, and you're wrapping your legs around them. I don't like it. I don't want to mince words. I don't like it. And Emma caught it, because when she looked over, this was her face looking at her daughter. I screen captured that because I was like, she's noticing this, but she's not gonna address it. I don't think. I think she's gonna push it to the back of her head and explain it away. Fomikilati says, "Hey, Zaddy." Yeah, I'm gonna leave that up here while I'm talking about them. Because the next day they go to the beach in Turkey, and the Turkish beach looks so beautiful. It was lined with palm trees. I wish I would have taken more images of that, but I thought that I would be able to find them today, but I couldn't, because usually I can Google and find a few pictures from the different episodes, but there was nothing up. So I regret not taking screen captures of that while I was watching the show. But it was a beautiful, beautiful beach. The water looked like that sea greenish blue, just very tropical looking. They went to get ice cream, and then what's odd is, at this point, Emma's daughter decides that she's going to question Hossein to see where his mind is at. And I'm like, you wrapped your legs around him yesterday. I think this is kind of odd that you're going in this direction, but hey, it's whatever. So she questions him, and he basically tells her, well, you're a child, so you wouldn't understand, which was very condescending to her as well, because children do understand certain things. And it's also discounting her feelings, because that is her mother. Regardless of her age, that's her mother. So it would behoove Hossein to make her feel like he's not using her mother. I feel like that conversation was a little bit not as productive as it could have been. Let's see, I'm trying so hard. This is the thing. I try to choose my words carefully, because these are real people, and I don't know this young lady's age. I don't know whether she's underage or not. And I hesitate to talk that harshly about children if she's underage, if she's like 14, 15 years old, because, that's still a child. And I don't want to, I kind of have mixed emotions about even having children on this show. Because on the one hand, they are very, very entertaining. That when 90 Day Fiance has children on, they're very entertaining, especially their observations of their parents. But then there's that other side of it where you don't want them to be or feel exploited on reality television. So that's why I'm kind of choosing my words carefully, because like I said, I don't know how old her daughter is. I did not catch whether she was of age or not. And so I'm going to treat it with care. So what else happened? Oh, she did take him to task for blocking her mother and unblocking her whenever he gets mad. And she basically tells him, like, when you get married and you're in the house with her, what are you going to do? Because you can't block her on your phone. And at that moment, she seemed more mature than he did. And also, it reminded me of, what was it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago, when he called her old, fat, and ugly. And she let that go. I'm like, that's just terrible. Why would you, I don't care how angry you get at a person, to attack them like that. It almost feels like, well, there's a saying that sometimes the truth comes out in anger, and that might be how he truly feels about her. I don't see why she was so quick to take him back after those words were spoken to her or texted to her. I think it was actually over text. But yeah, I feel bad for her. I think that she should, I not say should, I hope that she can see that she deserves better. That's a better way of phrasing that. Drinking game. Take a sip every time Hossein checks his reflection. They also visit an office in Turkey to get a marriage permit, and they're very shocked when they can't get the marriage permit. But I was thinking it could be because Hossein was sitting there mean mugging the officiant the whole time, and I thought that's so disrespectful. If you're trying to ask about something or get something. I think the least you could be is friendly and kind. Hossein did not give me that when he was in there. And I don't care how disappointed you are as an adult, you conduct yourself a certain way. Afomiki Latte says that ish is weird. Chris says the cringe was super strong. Tony Man says that's creepy AF. I used to hug kids on the side or not touch them at all. Hello, chat, Fo and Chris. She's not a little kid. I'm not sure what any of them are on. Yeah, like it'd be one thing. This hug would be semi acceptable for a 5 or 6 year old. That's a small child. Doesn't have a sexual connotation. But a girl her age, either she's acting like a 5-year-old or there's something else going on, and it doesn't look right. I'm just saying it doesn't look right. Fomiki Lighty says I started to say something, but I'm not. Tony Man says let's assume she's not of age, and it was still inappropriate to hug anyone like that. Yeah, because even it's both inappropriate. If she's 15, it's inappropriate because that's a grown ass man. If she's 18, it's inappropriate because it's like you're hitting on your mom's husband to be. So either way, it's inappropriate. Emma says, I can't believe they didn't think to arrange the Turkish paperwork before they went over there. Yeah, that seems to be a commonality in 90 Day Fiancé of not prearranging things. Chris says, I can see Hossein sabotaging a marriage, but keeping her on the line for gifts. Mm-hmm. Especially since she was buying him Versace and Nike sneakers and whatever else he wanted. There are some people that say that he may not be exactly straight, that he may not be into women at all. I have no proof of that. That is all just speculation, rumors, that type of thing on Twitter. So I don't know. But I think that's all I had to say about Emma and Hossein. Let's talk about Alejandro and Kadie, although it's mostly about Kadie, which I was very, very proud of her this episode. She and her grandmother decided to take Spanish lessons, and they're doing it online. I do think that the Spanish teacher could have been a little bit clearer with how he was explaining things to them, because they, like, at one point the instructor was teaching them how to say como te llamo, but they were putting it on the screen, and without her grandmother learning the Spanish alphabet, it would be very confusing because they're seeing those two L's there, and they kept on trying to pronounce those L's as L's, so they were saying como te llamo. And I think the instructor should not have put up the word, should have just practiced with them conversationally. And also they explained how the pronunciation changes by region, because I believe in Mexico, they may say como te llamo. Oh, no, that's Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is como te llamo. In Mexico, como te llamo. But I think teaching them conversationally might have been more beneficial than to put the words on the screen, because if they're, like I said, if you don't know the alphabet, it's going to be very confusing, and it'd be hard for you mentally to get used to that. So I think he should just teach conversational for now, especially since they're doing it mostly for a wedding, and their ear needs to get used to hearing as well. But that's just all one little thing I was thinking about that. Kadie talks about how Alejandro's parents want them to have a Catholic wedding, and she's against this because she's not Catholic. But at the same time, Alejandro is doing most of the wedding planning, so maybe there's some way that they can compromise on that. I'm not sure how they would compromise. I don't know whether they would have like certain Catholic traditions and not other Catholic traditions. I don't know how you would do that, because I'm not Catholic, so I'm not super familiar with it. Although I have grandparents, I have one grandfather who was Catholic and one grandmother that is Lutheran, and Lutheran is very similar to Catholic. Like literally the only difference I can find between Lutheran and Catholic is Lutherans don't go to confession, but everything else, they have rosary beads. Their church service appears to be the same, but like I said, they will have to discuss more what type of wedding they're going to have, whether they're going to have a non-denominational wedding or a Catholic wedding. And they also talk about the number of people. To Emma, to Kadie, 100 people at a wedding seems a lot, because she probably has a very small family, and small friend group. Whereas Alejandro's like, well, I'm only having 100 people, which um, is not unusual because weddings, I don't know, it's just cultural. I don't think I've been to a wedding or a quince that had, I guess, any less than 50 people because people just love to come out and dance and have food and enjoy each other's company. It's like an event. It's just very, very nice. I think she'll enjoy. I think when she experiences it, I hope that she enjoys it. It's very, very nice. Where did I leave off? Tony Man says Chris is the Usman and that lady is Angela. Chris? I think you're mistaking somebody's name. I'm trying to think. I meant to say Chris, that dude first. Oh, you're saying Hossein. Hossein is the Usman, and you're saying that Emma is the Angela. You're still confusing couples because Angela is with Michael and Usman is with Kimberly. So what you mean to say is Hossein is like Usman and Emma is like Kimberly. See how I interpreted that. Okay, I got what you mean though. I meant to say I was addressing Chris and adding to her point. Oh, okay. Gotcha. See, Chris got it before I got it. Tony says, every time I hear Alejandro, I start singing the Lady Gaga song. Thanks, Gaga, for the earworm. Oh, we have one more couple to talk about. Yeah, another time that I wish I had taken screen captures, but that's okay. Next time. Calum and Marvin finally have their proposal that Calum was pushing for hard body karate. Like, I like Calum. I get his enthusiasm, but sometimes you got to dial it back just a little bit. Let the person chase you a little bit. Don't be so eager beaver. That's all I'm saying. It was a beautiful proposal, although I'm wondering how Marvin was able to set that up all the way from the Seychelles. That had to be very, very difficult without Calum's help. And there were people on Twitter speculating that Calum did help set up that proposal and then pretending to be surprised. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past it. It's a reality show. People set things up on reality TV all the time, and we just accept it as is. But it was lovely to see. It was a nice moment. I like the Christmas trees. I like the background of the castle, which is funny because we just had a conversation about castles in Scotland this past Saturday. I was on Terrence McGuinness channel, and we spoke about ghosts and everything ghostly. And we did talk about the castles in Scotland and how some of them feel haunted. So that was very interesting to see. The other note I made is that I did enjoy that there was a picnic set up there, a cold weather picnic, but the thing that I need Marvin to not do is shake up the champagne before opening it. I hate when people shake up the champagne before opening it because you're wasting half of the champagne on the ground. It's just a pet peeve of mine. Don't open the champagne. I mean, don't shake up the champagne before you open it. I know you've seen it in movies. It looks cool, but one, you're wasting half the champagne. Two, who's going to clean all this up? I mean, they were outside, so that doesn't apply. But I've seen people try to do that indoors, and it's irksome. The other thing is, as nice as this proposal was, it does not top Valentine's proposal in was it Colombia? If you watch 90 Day Fiance, Love in Paradise, Valentine's proposal was like top tier, best proposals I've ever seen on television. Absolutely beautiful, breathtaking. Chris says Marvin lived and worked in Europe for a time, so he might be familiar with setting up events already. That's right. Thank you for reminding me that, Chris. Yes, he did used to live there. Yes. So it'd be because for me, it's hard for me to set up something in just a different town than where I'm from. It's difficult. Last time when me and my sister traveled to my youngest sister's graduation, and I let my middle sister do all the setup of the hotel and everything, because that stuff stresses me out. I can do it. It's just very stressful to me. This episode was Richardless, and I love to hear about Birdie. And the champagne is so sticky when it dries. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's the third reason not to do that. Yeah, I was happy that Richard and Birdie were not on this episode. I did miss Sean and Christine. I like watching their story. I do feel like they're genuine. And I feel like there's someone else missing. Oh, yes. Pat and Sam are infinitely interesting. Just Pat herself is just an interesting person. The fact that we were introduced to her playing castanets. And I just think that her story is going to be very, very interesting. I hope that Sam is not fully taking her for a ride. I get the feeling that he is, but I hate to see that. I hate to see that because she really does seem like she's a decent person. Just wants, company, and everybody wants to feel loved. Like, I can't fault people for that. Chris says planning big events kind of mostly sucks. Oh, yes. For me, like, some people enjoy it. Like, some people are event planners for a living. Me, I'm not the event planning type. I don't like the pressure. I don't like the pressure of putting on big events. But let's get into the tweets, because I ended up retweeting so much. Some of them might be repetitive, but that's because a lot of people were feeling the same way about a situation, and I can't fault them for that. So let me stop sharing that screen and share this screen. You know what? Let me see something. I think I might have found out something about this. Okay. Oh, so I have to do it this way. Oh, well, maybe. Let me see. No, I have to do it this way. Okay. Just learned something new about StreamYard. I was trying something different and it didn't work out, so I'm going to go back to... I thought it was going to let me hold something in the background, but I'm using the free version of StreamYard, so maybe it's something that you can only do in a paid version. All right, so let's start with these tweets. Wait, one more comment before the tweets. Tony Man says, I'm going to leave Pat alone from this point on. Good, good, good. You should respect your elders anyways. That this person's screen name, sorry. That not Tanya's, is it Tanya or Tania? I could swear her name was Tania. But then this last episode of 90 Day, the single life, she said her name was Tanya. Am I misremembering? Am I an alternate timeline? You guys let me know if you remember her name as Tanya or Tania. That's not Tanya's soulmate, cute girl. Says, bless their hearts. Kadie and her Gran are trying to learn Spanish. I appreciate them making effort. It really is sweet. And like I said, I agree with that completely. Stephanie Bradley says, Hossein is definitely texting his real girlfriend, not his mother. The look of utter regret was written all over his face. L Boogie says, PSA to all the 90 Day Fiance fans. There's a 90 Day Fiance UK streaming on Discovery Plus, and it's good, like the old 90 Day. I see a lot of tweets specifically today asking what and where, and well, nobody deserves to miss out on this. Spread the love. And I agree. The one thing that I really, really enjoy about 90 Day UK is it does feel like the earlier 90 Day Fiance episode, or seasons, I should say, season 1 and 2, where the people were less media savvy or out to be influencers like Jabri and Miona. Like, their whole thing is hard to take them seriously because, well, for one thing, it's their age. Because they're so young, they're so used to reality television. They know what is going to happen after they're on television. They've already set up their social media platforms, and their audience and their YouTube, and they're just always on, like acting in a way. Whereas the people in the first 2 seasons of 90 Day, it was very much documentary feel. And the 90 Day UK also feels very documentary like, and the people feel like they're not as media savvy. And so they're seem to be more authentically themselves and not so much putting on for the camera, with the exception of Richard. Richard is totally putting on for the camera, but his problem is that his style of humor is very, very outdated and problematic. And I don't think that he will necessarily find success if he continues on that path. I think he could change it up, maybe change your I was going to say aura, but that's not the right word. The whole chauvinist thing is not funny. He thinks it's funny, but it's just not funny. Anyways, Tonyman says, when is Chris going to send some of that banging looking soup she made and took photos of? Maybe the recipe, Chris? Okay. Chris says, I need to make a soup blog. Then I'll share the 90-day group. That would be great. Chris, for reference, the two best blogging formats that I found as far as like ease of use, because I'm not like a super tech savvy person, are Blogger. That one is good, but I it's easy to use, but I feel that WordPress has better free templates. I think the better templates that are available for Blogger you have to pay for, and WordPress has some really great free templates and better integration with like YouTube, Instagram, and stuff like that. So that's my 2 cents on that. Tonyman says, watching the UK version makes me realize that there are Belials across the globe. Mm-hmm. Chris says, I like seeing people who are more like everyday people. The influencer invasion on the US shows are annoying. Yes, they are, because they're not acting authentically themselves. They're always putting on airs for the camera, and it takes away from the program. Okay, Guilty Pleasure TV says, Emma been with this man for 6 years, and she has no understanding of his culture's views on intimacy. I know he's using that as an excuse to avoid sex, but still, she should be familiar with the traditions of her man's country by now. Agree. 90-Day Yala says, truly how we felt watching Calum and Marvin. Congrats. Recap of UK out now. So shout out to 90-Day Yala for their recap. And I'm going to play this little clip here. Let's rewind it. And again, this is how they felt watching Calum and Marvin.
Oh, that was crazy. I've never actually experienced that sort of atmosphere again before. It's absolutely electric. The passion, everything we've seen from both. Oh, that was crazy. I've never actually experienced that.
That was cute. Chris says, bloggers, what I use. I made a recipe template that keeps it simple. Oh, very, very nice. I think Blogger, I think Google favors Blogger in the algorithm, because they recently, maybe not too many years ago, bought Blogger. And I made a mistake of changing my website, my What Did I Just Watch website, from Blogger to WordPress. And it took me a year to regain my Google ranking. Yeah, and this is the scene that we just talked about. For those that missed it, this is it in motion. And shout out to Sarah McPants, who says, what in the Lifetime original movie is happening between the fiance and the teen daughter? You see her reaction? She knows that that's not right. Look at her face. Yeah, it's very odd. That's what I'll call it right now. Very, very odd, because who knows? And unfortunately, what I'm hearing is that we're not going to get a tell-all. And it's so unfortunate. I mean, this show needs a tell-all. 90 Day Love in Paradise needed a tell-all. I'm very disappointed we're not getting a tell-all on these. Tonyman says, by the way, Lady Shasha, I retweeted someone and tagged you about the great idea they had for 90 Day America. I will have to look for that tweet, because I didn't see it earlier, but I will look for it. Cicely Tyson, great name, by the way, because it's like a play on the actress Cicely Tyson, she is an amazing actress. If you don't know her, look her up. She has done some great work. But Cicely Tyson says, I feel bad for Emma's daughter. This 44, and they put quotation marks too, so they don't think that she's telling the truth about her age. This 44-year-old woman is acting like a silly 20-year-old for this weird man. I wouldn't even say 20. I feel like she's acting more like a 13 or 14-year-old. Because me at 20, if you called me fat, ugly, and old, I'm not talking to you again, period. There is no, I'm sorry, I'm not taking you back. I'm out. Goodbye. If Katharine Hepburn was raised by wolves, says, Also, there should be a 90-Day Fiance UK tell-all, and they should get Catherine Ryan to host it. I'm not familiar with Catherine Ryan, but I do, like I just now said, that we need a tell-all. BJ Cyprian says, Hossein's hair might actually rival Tim's in the 90-day universe. Mm. Pebbles San can't say it, Vicente. I'll do it that way. Pebbles San Vicente says, Oh, and was that her daughter wrapping her legs around Hossein at the airport? Yes, that was her daughter. Pebbles also says, case in point, Emma, do you want to hold my hand? Hossein, no. That tells you everything you need to know. I have several tweets by Mina Kreider Green. She was on fire. If you follow her on Twitter, she's very funny. Gotta say, nice to see Kadie and Liz try the class of learning Spanish, but they need many, many more. Marvin, you are totally romantic asking Calum at a castle. Oh, Mama Calum not gonna be happy. And Mina also says, Hossein really, really loves himself. He really savors any moment he can see his reflection. I do not think he is a closed book so much as it is a culture thing, and the fact that he got someone else back home. Why is Emma dressed so gross for a date night alone? Yeah, Emma and also Kimberly have issues with dressing their body, and I get it, because I think what happens, because I've experienced this myself, is that when you get into your 40s and your body type has changed, you don't have the same shape that you had when you were in your 20s, and then it's hard for you to figure out what looks good on you. But you can do this. You just have to find someone with a similar body type as yours. There's lots of great try-on videos on YouTube. I really enjoy when people do try-on videos and they actually say, you know, what their size is. Some will even give their measurements and their height, which is really, really helpful, because what looks right on a person that's shorter, like me, 5'3.5", and someone that's 5'8", makes a huge difference. So it's great when they tell their height. But watch the try-on videos, see what things look good on a person who is similarly shaped as you and that you like, and it will help you. Because sometimes I will end up trying on things that I never would have thought of trying on or thought would look good on me, because I saw someone do it in a tryout video and they had the same measurements as me, and it looks great on them. So that's one way of tackling that, relearning how to dress yourself when your body changes. And for me, I was a string bean. I had no curves at all. Now, all of a sudden, I have some curves, and the string bean type, the clothes that look great on me as a string bean don't look so great on me as a curvier person now. So that's where that comes from. Love to hate Zillas says, and shout out to their flags. It looks like they have a Jamaican flag here and a Cuban flag. And the third one, I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it's Ethiopian. I could be mistaken though. No, Ethiopian is red, yellow, and green. The red, black, and green might just be the Pan-African flag that they have there. But I know the first two flags. So anyways, they say the fa and post the picture because that's their response to seeing this. Let's see. Emma says Catherine Ryan would be brilliant. She is a brutal comedian. Oh, well, that sounds really great. I think comedians make good hosts for these type of shows. For like tell-all type of shows. Chris says, I don't think the UK or Paradise groups are as grubby about validation, so they wouldn't be as interested in a tell-all. Tony Man says, what's with the half? You're either 5'3" or 5'4". I'm leaning towards 5'3". People always round up for their height. Don't you know that? So it'd be 5'4". Always round up for your height. Love to hate Zillas says, what in the Danielle Mohammed is going... Wait, what in the Danielle and Mohammed hell is going on with Emma and Hossein? Good comparison. Good comparison, because although I don't think Mohammed was as conceited as Hossein is. Like, Hossein is very, very into himself. Mohammed never gave me someone that was very into themselves. They just were not compatible with What's her name? Michelle? I forgot her name. Danielle. Yeah. He is the epitome of I just needed a green card. And I mean, I can't fault him. I can't fault him. I it's crazy to me when I hear other people from the US getting mad and saying how this person's just here for a green card. And it's like, yeah, well, most likely your grandparents were too. Or your great grandparents. Whenever your family arrived from somewhere that is not the US, they were here for a similar reason to improve upon their life or what they thought they could improve upon their life. Unless you're a Native American, and I say this as a person with indigenous roots. That's why I'm looking at all of you like you're all immigrants. How dare you? How dare you say something about the newer immigrants? Okay. So, anyways, love to hate Zilla's also was on fire yesterday. Oh, did I retweet something twice? I retweeted it. Oh, let me see. No, they tweeted twice. They tweeted the picture twice, but they wrote something different this time. It says, "What kind of Mildred Pierce fuggery is this?" And they say Mildred Pierce is a awesome movie from back in the day. Google it, kiddos. I want to say Mildred Pierce would probably be from the 40s, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it's gonna be hard to pronounce this. Rezept Furkiner. It sounds like it's in a German word that they've spelled differently. But it says totally awkward that the daughter is jumping Hossein so sexually. Feels like foreshadowing an affair. Or maybe they're already texting. How old is she, by the way? Yeah, we don't know. Somebody's got to know if this child is over 18 or not. Priscilla says, seems the daughter might want a little piece of Hossein. I thought this was totally inappropriate. Chalk Chip has a little bit of a clip here. I saw people saying also that Emma was changing her accent. I didn't pick up on this, but we'll see if you guys hear something. Chalk Chip says the way Emma changed her accent to his is so funny to me. So let me listen to this again. They're right. It's not just her accent. It's the pitch of her voice that she's changing. Like she lowers her voice and she does. Let me pause it here. Here's the thing. You're doing yourself a disservice with this high ponytail and this. My robe looks similar to like the shape of this garment that you have on. And also when you are on a date with him, take the hair down. Maybe a little bit of makeup. Get those girls sitting up and popping. I feel like you could be giving him a little bit more to look at. Like this is like you've given up, and you shouldn't give up. There's something there. You just haven't seen it. Know who would help her? Molly. You know Molly from I forget which season of 90 Day Fiance she was on, but she's also on Pillow Talk sometimes. But Molly would hook you up and show you how to play up those features because she knows how to hook it up. Chris says, for every person looking for a green card, there's another looking for an overseas relationship. Tony says, Mildred Pierce is from 1945, and Joan Crawford is in it. Whoever wrote that was pretty spot on with that comparison. Yes. I thought it was the 40s. I'm proud of myself for remembering that. Okay. Debbie Johnston says, you aren't his MILF, Pat. You're his GILF. And, you know, MILF is mother, I would like to. And so, of course, GILF is grandmother, I would like to blank. Reality Squad says that moment he surprises you with the proposal that you planned. See, this is what is being said on Twitter. Chris says she should give up on him before all of her money is gone. Yeah, she should, and find somebody that actually has a chance in hell of actually really, really loving her. I don't think that man is it at all. RJ says, when a guy pats you as his greeting to you after 3 years, you're in trouble. Hota Ibushi says, they talk about Sean stepping down as a cleaning manager like he's stepping down as a CEO of Google. And that's referring to the other Sean, not Shintori. Adventures in Gigi says, I'm so sick of the does she want him for his money narrative when Sean doesn't have 2 pence to rub together. T says, how many more red flags does this chick need? And again, I said last week, and I'll say it again, who cut her bangs? It is a travesty, and it hurts my feelings. And I think I would give this lady a hot oil treatment. I would take that blonde down 2 shades to more of like a honey blonde, because this platinum is making her hair fragile and making it break off. When you see all this up here, that's from breakage, unfortunately, and it's from over processing. And also, I think she flat irons her hair. I think she has naturally wavy or curly hair that she's bleaching and flat ironing, and this is why it's looking this way. And it hurts my feelings to see that. Tony Man says, I say there should be a reality show with Kimberly, Johan's girl, Colt's mom, and Angela. Let them drive across the country. That would be very interesting in an RV and visit different places. But I feel like that might be taxing for women that age. I think that they would need definitely a chauffeur. Put them in the RV and drive them across the country, but have them have a chauffeur so that they're not doing the driving. And I think that would be a funny time. Definitely, Colt's mom is Debbie, but who is Johan's girl? I don't know who Johan is. I think you're maybe misspelling somebody's name because I don't remember Johan. But yeah, that would make for a good show. And Mina Kreider says, what the effery is this? Like she's hugging him like a mother-in-law. Her daughter was more like the bride-to-be. I think that's all the tweets. Yeah, that's all the tweets for today. So let me close that out. And I see I'm getting a notification also on Twitter about Queen Elizabeth II's state funeral taking place in Westminster Abbey. Is that still happening right now? Because I know it's about almost 6 o'clock in. I'm just clicking on to see. It's a little bit of the news story there. Wow, that looks very interesting. If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna put it on. Well, know what? This show is functioning more as like a break from all of that, so I'm not gonna put it on the screen. But it's very fascinating from an American perspective. It's fascinating to see this because we don't have an aristocracy, at least not an official one. We have, I guess, our aristocracy, the people who get treated like kings and queens, would be like Jeff Bezos and what's his name? The Microsoft guy. I can't remember his name. Bill Gates. So it'd be like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates. I'm not sure if the guy that owns Virgin Atlantic splits his time in the US and the UK or not, but I feel like when he's here, he's treated like he's royalty. And that Elon Musk, yeah, those people get treated like royalty here. All right, let me take this off here. Tony says that chick from UK. So do you mean Emma? Or do you mean, you mean Pat? Okay, now I'm picturing it now. RV with Kimberly, Pat, and Pat's boyfriend's name is Sam. So you're saying you want to end a show with Kimberly, Pat, Debbie, who is Colt's mom, and Angela. Yes, I could see that. I could see that happening. I think that would be very interesting. And know who else I would throw in there for some spice? Yolanda, because she needs to get out of the house and have some fun. I don't know if you remember Yolanda, the one that was being catfished by Williams. I feel like that would be a great show to see these ladies having a good time and not confine it to just the U.S. Have them travel in the U.S. and then maybe take them to the Caribbean. That's only a hop, skip, and a jump, and it'd be fun to see that. Tommy says Kimberly 2.0. Oh, so then you're saying Emma, not Pat. No, I feel like Emma wouldn't fit with that group because she seems a little bit more introverted, and that's a group of extroverts. I feel like they would their personalities might overpower her personality. But Pat, I feel like, would hold her own. A lady that dances with castanets can hold her own. Emma says the state funeral is just finished. It's been 7 hours of a tearful day here. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. So hopefully this cheers you up. And this is not the only live stream I'm doing today, by the way. We're doing other live streams. I will let you know. Emma also says, I thought the Jubilee earlier this year was a spectacle, but the state funeral was something else. Tonyman says, there's an English pub that was broadcasting the funeral at 5 this morning, and people were drinking as well. I was gobsmacked. Wow. Chris says, we don't have any people here who lived through and saw as much history at the same level as Queen Elizabeth. How old was she? Hold on. Let me Google real quick. '96. Yeah, that's a long time. She's 2 years older than my grandmother. My grandmother's 94. And she can tell you when the first person in her family got a telephone. Like, that's how much history she's seen. And it's still fascinating when she talks about how, just the development of technology and the different things that she's seen. And it's still fascinating to me that she was the person that bought me my first computer back in the 80s. And that's like really, really cool to see people that are of a certain age that still adapt to technology. That's really cool. Okay, so let me share my screen to tell you what's coming up next. Here we go. I am going to end this stream fairly soon, but I will be back in about an hour. We're going to start at, if you are on the West Coast, 10 a.m. If you are Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 2 p.m. And if you're in the UK, it'll be 7 p.m. that I'll be back on. And we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiance, The Single Life, and also these tracks that I keep staring at. It was like my life was a lie. I thought that was her real hair. I really thought that was her real hair this whole time. So the hair on the top is hers, but I'm so shocked that she had some tracks in there. So that's, we'll be back, talking about that at 2 p.m. The show may not be as long as this one. I don't know whether I can get more than half an hour out of talking about the single life, but we will try. Sonyman says, lunch goes by so damn fast while watching the stream. I'm glad. That's why I figured this would be a good time to stream, because if you're in the US, you can take your lunch break and watch it. And if you are if you're in the UK, you can listen to it on your drive home from work. Unless you're working until 6 p.m., then you can, use it to get through your last hour of work, hopefully. And then later today, let's see here. There it is. Which will be at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 9 p.m. UK time. I'll be talking about the 90 Day Happily Ever After. And then after that, you'll have to stay tuned for Hood Podcast, which usually uploads at 9 p.m. And I will write that in here, where we talk about news of the strange. And I have another This Week in Florida Man. Or I should say This Week in Florida News, because it's not always Florida Man. Sometimes it's Florida Woman. I'm going to put that in there. That's another channel that I'm on. at 9 p.m. And we have a good time just talking about the stories that we usually cover are stories that will make you laugh, stories that we can just, lighten our mood with. They're not ever stories that are depressing or overly sensational, that type of thing. They're just news of the weird. Like one of the more fun stories we covered was a little boy that I think he ordered 60 SpongeBob popsicles on his mother's credit card through Amazon. I think it was something excessive like that. It was like a lot of SpongeBob popsicles. I don't know the number, but it was a lot of them. That's the type of news stories that we talk about, and we have a good time talking about those things. And we also sometimes talk about television shows. And most recently, we've been covering the Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, She-Hulk, and Lord of the Rings. What is the next one called? It's the Amazon series. I never remember the title of it, but we've been covering that off and on too. So definitely check that out. And with that, I'm going to get out of here because it's just about to be 1 o'clock. Tony Man says, however, I absolutely appreciate your hard work. And Chris says, thanks for the stories, Tony Man. And Tony Man says, my pleasure. Chris is also one of the co-hosts on Hood Podcast. If you're new here and you don't know, she's also one of the co-hosts, and she is responsible for most of our stories. So shout out to Chris. Chris says rings of boring. Yes, thank you. That's what it should be called. Rings of boring, because I cannot. I wanted to try. I can't do it. All right, let me get to my outro, and then I will see you guys at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for coming through. We had a good time today, even though I wish that I had a little bit more visuals, because I don't usually have this few visuals, but we still had a good time. The conversation was popping, and I appreciate the chat. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I will see you in a little bit.